Okay, we'll get this meeting started. Okay, roll call. We have Floyd Wambacher.
Present.
Jack Wiedemann.
Present.
Mick O'Neill.
Yep.
Rick Pitzel present. Bill O'Neill. Steve Cady.
Present.
Mike Wu.
Present.
Robert Tenney. And Charlie Calloway.
Here.
Okay. So, first thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the September 19th meeting. We all have copies of those in advance. Anybody have any additions, subtractions, or corrections to make to the minutes? Okay, then a motion be ordered to accept the minutes as written.
Motion moved.
And seconded?
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So the first order of business is a variance application filed by Brad and Barb Chernowski seeking approval of a variance to allow construction of a front yard fence on a quarter lot within the 10-foot setback required by Section 1047D1A for the property located at 607 East Scioto Avenue, Peoria Heights. The property is currently zoned R2. So is Barb or Brad Chernowski here? Do you want to step up and explain what, why, and what you're looking for and why?
Okay, I'd like to have a fence in my front yard because I have two dogs that are both runners, and when they run, I can't chase them anymore. And to be very, I just, for fear of losing one of my dogs because they're not street smart, is my main reason, and I have no other place I can put a fence.
Do you have a backyard?
I do, but if I only have a slider to go out, and they won't go out the slider, they're scared of it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Chernowski? So you're looking to put this fence in front of your house. I have this drawing, but
There's a better drawing. Yeah, there was a better drawing last month.
yeah, but she's changed it. So this is the change, which I'm not sure.
It's just the same, except for I put the addition, and I want the fence to go to the end of the addition so they'll have more room to run than to the original house.
So how long, so is that 60 feet to the end of the addition?
No, it's 60 feet from the addition to the street, is 60 feet. My addition is, I think, 25 feet, I think.
And you're going to the front all the way to the property line, or?
Just to the end of the addition.
But all the way out to the property line in front of your house?
No, there's like a footer that my mailbox is out, and then it goes behind my mailbox. So there's a sidewalk, and then there's like a foot.
Well, I know, but your property line was marked. You had your property line marked.
Yes.
And you're taking the fence out to your property line.
Yes.
Your mailbox isn't in your property, so.
No.
And that's, because I went and took a look at it, and the neighbor's fence is past the property line.
Well,
As far as that.
past her property line, but maybe not past their property line.
I'm saying, yeah, past her property line.
Right.
So.
And this addition has no doors in it in the back?
There'll be a door to the garage. There's none in the back, no.
I guess so the variance is a front yard fence, first of all, and second of all, to have the front yard fence on a corner lot closer than 10 feet to their property line. Right there, yep. On either side, yeah, because it's a corner.
What kind of
You say your
fence?
dogs won't use the sliding door?
Just a chain link fence. I mean, there's 60 feet from where the fence will end to the street, so it's not interfering with,
But again, it doesn't matter to the street, it matters to your property line, but I think you're fine on that end, that's not the question. The question is your front of your house facing Scioto.
Is that technically two properties? You buy the property next to you?
no.
It's all one
No,
lot?
it's always okay. So the dogs won't use the sliding glass door to go out the back?
No.
How big of dogs are they?
It's tiny.
They're just little, one's a Chihuahua and one's a Chiweenie.
It's 8 pounds.
And you can't carry them out there?
Pardon? They're, both the biggest one's probably 10 pounds.
Okay.
But that's where you put them now, right? Because your
On
chain's out
chain,
back.
Yeah. I put them on chains, but I have chained them before I let them out. I bring the chain in, it stays in between the screen door, because if I open that screen door, they're gone.
So they go out the back. So any other questions?
Have you considered a different fence, a more decorative fence?
Pardon?
Have you considered a more decorative fence instead of chain link?
I can't hear you.
Have you considered a more decorative fence than just a chain link in the front?
Well, they're so little decorative, they go right through it. Like John and Kathy next door to me have a decorative fence. My dog can walk right through it.
Okay.
Okay. Which one? There's one. What's the other one? That one's not very good. You might want to use this one.
So Rick, we got a variance on just the front side of the house.
Yep, less than
And the
10
side
foot.
too, right?
Front yard fence less than 10 feet. No, just the front.
Just the front, okay.
Yeah.
So do we know what the fence is going to be? Do we know what
Chain
the
link.
measurement is? I don't think I see it on there.
No.
Is it 6 feet? Is it 8 feet? What kind of a variance are we asking for?
25.
25 feet?
It's 25 feet from her house to her property line.
Okay,
I measured it today.
I know, but the fence,
You talking about the
She's
whole-
saying she wants to put it
Chain
on the
link,
property
4
line, so
foot.
that'd be 25 feet. So if you took 10 off of that, it would be 15 feet. She could come out 15 feet from her house without a variance. But she wants to come 25 feet out.
she wants to go full.
Don't we still need a variance just for a front yard fence?
Yes.
Yep.
There's two.
So it's really two.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's two variances. She wants to come 25 feet out instead of 15, and she wants a front yard fence. So 15 feet isn't enough? Is that,
What, for?
so from your house coming out 15 feet, you need the full 25 for,
What, you mean from
A
my
Chihuahua?
house to the street?
yeah. So from your house to your property line in front is 25 feet, and
Yeah.
you're asking to put the fence on the property line, which is a variance. It's supposed to be 10 feet back from your property line, which would give you, from your house to the edge of the fence, 15 feet. And it would be, I don't know, Floyd, where's that? It'd be at least 32 and at least 60 feet long, 50 feet long. But that's not enough room for 2 chihuahuas?
I suppose. I can't picture the length right now. It just measures like that. It'll be all right. I don't want either one of them to get hurt. That's my main concern. I mean, they would like to run probably, but I mean, if they can't, they can't. But
Okay, any other questions? Anyone? Okay, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that cares to speak on this?
I was just wondering, can you maybe draw a little diagram showing her how it sets back, so she has a visual of it?
Well, sure. I mean, your diagram goes out 25 feet and goes across 60 feet. It would only go out 15 feet and go all the way across the front of your house.
I'm losing 10 feet.
Right.
But you're now going to the edge of the addition, so you're gaining that, so your entire space is about the same, it's just thinner.
In fact,
The only caveat is the next door neighbors is out to that property line. A couple other on the street are out to that property line. So there's probably, in a two blocks from that, there's maybe 3 or 4 houses that are out to the property line with fences like she's asking for. So I'm just.
I understand
putting all the
that,
information out there.
but just like most of our variances, what other people have,
Yeah, doesn't
really matter,
Doesn't
but-
really matter, sure.
because we don't know when they got them, and they
Correct.
might have been there for 50 years.
Right.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I mean,
Wouldn't it be more aesthetically pleasing if all fences were coming out to the same point? I mean, that's another consideration. I mean, that is,
If you adhere to the setback you're supposed to, yeah, it'd be great.
yeah.
But it's like what Rick said, if somebody put a fence in 50 years ago, would they come before the zoning to get variance or just put a fence up?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm sorry. I guess we'll get your name and address later, I'm sure. But can you just state your name for
Yeah,
the?
my name is Elizabeth Guerrero. I live at 1117 East Glen.
Thank you.
And I also have a house on Scioto.
Thank you.
You know, like I had mentioned before, I believe the house next door, the fence goes past her property line, so we couldn't line those up
Oh,
anyway.
gotcha.
Okay, public comments will be closed. So I guess we'll go through the findings of facts for the first variance, which is a front yard fence. Will the strict application of the terms of the zoning code relating to the use, construction, or alternation of buildings or structures, or to the use of land impose practical difficulties or a particular hardship upon the petitioner? Wiedemann?
No.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway? No. Pitzel, no. Wambacher?
No.
No. No.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we don't really have to even go through, do we go through the rest? Should we?
Should,
Okay. If the variation is granted, the property affected by the variation will remain in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning code. Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes.
No.
Wambacher, sorry. Katie?
No.
Wu?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The approval of the variation will not merely serve as a convenience to the petitioner, but is necessary to alleviate some demonstrable hardship on the petitioner. Wiedemann?
No.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, no. Wambacher?
No.
No. No.
Can the variation requested by the petitioner be granted without substantial detriment to the public good? Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Woo?
Yes.
Can the proposed variation be approved without impairing the general purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan as implemented by the zoning code? Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Woo?
Yes.
If the proposed variance involves a fence, will the fence conform to the standards set forth in subsections 10.4D2C2 and 10.2C5 of the zoning code? Wiedemann?
No.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, no. Wambacher?
No.
No.
Katie? Woo?
No.
Okay. So that was,
I take it nobody's going to make a motion to,
Well, that's where I was about to go.
yeah, just filling in the paperwork. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the request for variance or deny the request for the variance? Anyone? Okay. So we don't have to do the second part of that variance?
no.
So basically what that means is that your front yard fence variance failed. So you can, is this one that can be,
I believe it can be appealed.
it can be appealed through the village board? If you so want to do so, you can come in and talk with the administrative secretary and you can get on the agenda to appeal it. But for now, the front yard fence failed.
So would that mean she comes back and
Right.
does it?
You can put it in the, well, this was just the front yard fence portion of the variance. We didn't even do the 10 feet. You can do it in the backyard or on a side yard. But the front yard fence failed.
And I know since you're on a corner, that other one would be considered side yard, but I believe we might all take a different view of that if you wanted that in the fence. If you wanted to fence
Is
that
there a way
yard.
to do a fence between the addition and the shed? Is there a fence between the addition and the shed?
Yeah, that would be the side yard. She could put a fence between, even with her house going back between the house, the addition, and the shed that's already there, or the garage, whatever you want to call it. Or anywhere in the backyard, and come and wrap all the way around to the front side.
I think what we're all saying is we're trying to avoid people having front yard fences, and I believe you got plenty of room there for another fence, to put a fence in without it being in the front yard.
Okay. Next on the docket is a site plan approval application filed by KDB Group seeking approval of a site plan for the development of office space for the property located at 4615 North Prospect Road, Peoria Heights. The property is currently zoned B1, General Retail Business District. So who's going to step up and talk to this?
Aye.
Okay. Just tell us your name again. Great.
Greg Berkland, President and CEO of the KDB Group, and most likely Paul, Corey, and also probably Steve Kerr will come up too and speak. You are correct. We have a B1 zoning for that property. We are still keeping it under B1. It was, actually this is our first phase of that property. We have a financial tenant that is ready to move into that site. During this construction, we'll also be working on the south side of the property too, fixing it up so it mirrors both the north and south side. So they'll be exactly the same. The variance that we're looking for is the window. Right now, everyone can see that the windows at the front of that building. We're going to increase them. Increase the size by 450% compared to what they are now. And I think the other variance was the parking lot, which it still is angled. There's this Steve can go a little bit more in detail about that, but we are keeping the property the same as it is, a B1, and that's what we're asking for.
So do you know what the window percentage will be when these new windows are done?
It's about 20%.
20?
20.
So they're seeking a variance. So when we did the new layover district for the business district down in the Heights, we made the front window space 75% window space on the buildings. This would not, this isn't the first time we've ran into this problem where an older building trying to take the whole front of their building and make it window is difficult structurally, which is what they're alluding to. So any questions regarding, so what's the question on the parking then? Is that?
So it's angled parking, and the space, the stripes are striped at 24 feet, which your requirement is 20 feet, but at an angle, you're not going to get 20 full feet of usable. I don't know if we need the variance or not. There's plenty of room to park, but just on an angle parking.
So you're not going to get the 20-foot length is what you're saying, right?
You're not going to
Because
get that 20 feet of depth, but you also have the islands in between that you can overhang the car.
Yep.
And there's, basically we're recreating the parking that's there now is what we're doing. And so I don't know that we actually need a variance. I've striped them at 24 feet, but at an angle you don't really have.
So what is the depth at an angle?
It's like,
15.
pardon?
It'll be 15 at an angle.
Okay, it'll be 15 at the angle, but you'll also have the overhang of the car.
Yeah, in the front.
In other words, we meet requirements for angle parking. It just, the way your ordinance is written, there's.
It doesn't, it's written for just straight parking, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yep.
so I don't know if we need the variance or not.
Okay. We'll probably still do it. Yep.
Steve, quick question for you. You've got was it an 18-foot lane?
Yeah.
Can't you just reduce that?
Well, we can, well, you can't reduce it to 12 because you still got to have room to maneuver. I think at that angle, the minimum width is like 15 feet on a parking chart. So,
I looked at this, just me looking online, I stopped by the office, but it.
yeah, 12 feet, 12 feet I think would be pretty narrow.
Yeah.
And it's all semantics of how much do you stripe and how much do you have as your drive-through. Basically, we have the same width from island to island. So whether we're 12 feet wide or 18 feet wide, you still have the same room to park.
But yeah, and you do have the island, so you can't overhang. So
Right.
it's a couple feet
Yeah.
off of that.
So you're not going to hit a car on the other side
Right.
of the angle.
But that's what I'm thinking, you could reduce that, and it's the same thing, the same distance, it's just.
Right. It just, there's not a good place to write 20 feet. It meets the ordinance,
Yeah.
so. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes, thanks. Any other questions on the site plan or either of the variances? So what, in that middle portion of where the building is now, so that's going to be, so you're taking the awnings off according to these pictures, right?
That's correct.
Taking the awnings off, and then is it going to be the same levels
It will be.
in the courtyard?
Correct, and also we're making it handicap accessible in the back and the side.
Okay. So in the side, on the north side, is that, or where's on the side?
Correct.
So it'll be on the north side and then in the back going up to the
Yeah, we'll have
parking
an
lot,
elevator on the back part.
but not down?
Well, wait a minute. It'd be east and west, yeah, east and west.
Both ends of the courtyard will be?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
We don't have ramp on this. We do not have a ramp on this side. So
Okay.
the proposed is a ramp on the west side of the courtyard, so you can go from the parking lot
Into the courtyard.
into the courtyard to gain access.
To the buildings.
Gain access to the south building, because there is no handicap access to the south building today.
Okay.
The north building currently has handicap access from the Peoria Prospect Corner.
Yep. Because of the elevation, right?
Correct.
The match is there.
Okay. So those are the two so north building will be handicap, well, they could enter both sides, and the south
Correct.
building will be from the rear.
Correct.
Well, it'll be from the courtyard.
Yeah, I mean, but the handicap entrance will be from the rear.
So what's the facade on the new building?
So it's existing bricks,
It's staying with existing.
will be painted, and then this wood slat look to help modernize the building.
Okay. So yeah, obviously, the existing structure for the front, you're going to cut out more to put the new windows in, but you're not replacing the entire frontage of the building.
Correct.
It's actually still holding true to its original design, with the south side still being a restaurant. We're still being courted as we speak to have a restaurant in that south side. So it's still the same plan that we had originally brought to your attention before COVID.
Other than if you have outdoor dining for that restaurant, it will be up in the courtyard versus on the sidewalk in front.
Correct. Or both. But mostly, I think everybody would like to be in that courtyard.
Any other questions before I ask the audience? No? Okay.
Thank you.
So does anybody in the audience want to speak on this topic? Kathy, you know the drill.
Kathy Stevenson. I live at 4536 North Miller Avenue in Peoria Heights. So I just want to talk a little bit about form-based code, and because a lot of you weren't here. But when we look at our downtown area, it really was a mistake. It's late 1800 buildings that have 25-foot wide storefronts in a downtown that was designed for foot traffic. We're actually very fortunate that it wasn't torn down in entirety as people decided to rebuild. And as a result, we have a business district that is thriving, quite honestly, by accident. We've got small retail and restaurants that saw the convenience, the affordability of opening in these small footprints with lower overhead, and the added benefit of wide sidewalks that allowed for outdoor dining and foot traffic. As the Heights developed along the way, there were some mistakes. The Smith Drugs, when they located to the across the street and to the building that has the parking lot on Samuel, that was intended originally that retail was on the lower level. They had doctor's offices on the upstairs, which is really what you look at when you're looking at kind of mixed use besides retail or residential on the upstairs. What happened over time is that completely evolved itself into completely service businesses. Service businesses on the first floor do a number of things. They don't promote really that activity on the street that brings people moving around and utilizing. They also utilize valuable parking spaces. They don't contribute to the tax base for the community, so it's usually the best, I guess the best location ideally is that service businesses would be not street facing. They would be on the sides versus the front, or they would be on a second floor. And then that first floor would be predominantly for the retail and restaurants. This has kind of continued to happen. If you look at some of the things that have happened in the Heights recently, we've got a medical building in the public house location that is now a service business right there. It was meant to be, at the time when we approved it, was intended to be a coffee shop that would bring more people on the streets, some of that activity that you're looking for. We also have in the 4500 building now, you've got two, I think it's a roofing and a solar energy company. And then obviously this would bring a service business to the main street. So we're starting to evolve and eliminating a lot of our space into non-retail, which will affect, and I realize this is a new use for this property, but it does impact the overall village as we look to develop further. So in the interest of preserving the downtown, because we 5 years ago, when we adopted the overlay plan, we saw that there was going to be a need, that we needed to make sure we put something into place, that we protected the character of our, kind of the uniqueness, and whatever we had in any development that would come, that it would really enhance the downtown area and contribute to maintaining that character. So the overlay district, if we didn't have it, you'd probably see more things like CVS that sets back, doesn't blend itself with the downtown area. So that's the kind of thing that we were trying to avoid, but it extends itself even further. For those of you that took part in the comprehensive plan or the small town event that we had, it was pretty clear. The outcome for both of those is that the Peoria Heights downtown should continue to develop in a pedestrian, I'm reading this from what's on the website, Peoria Heights downtown should continue to be developed in a pedestrian-friendly, traditional mixed-use area to build on its existing character. Chuck Marone is the founder of Strong Towns and was the one that led that event. He had a tour, a bus tour, that went around and looked at some of our development, and to say that he had strong opinions would kind of be taken lightly, I would say, regarding some of our development. That Strong Town, that small towns, Strong Towns organization is really something that promotes walkable community, promotes, more importantly, financially sustainable. So they tried to build kind of densely, and so that you don't put a tax burden as a result of the development. So Kim Blickenstaff, when he was part of the small towns, and he actually commented during the meeting that he was attracted to Peoria Heights for that very reason. His love for the outdoor dining, the outdoor music scene, the walkability, uniqueness compared to other parts of Peoria. And when I look at this building plan and the exterior of it, it does not reflect our uniqueness. The amount of glass on a storefront is significant, and I'm going to share some pictures of the downtown that you'll get a sense for that. And there's a number of reasons. People want to be on a street. They like to see inside and outside, but there's actually studies that have shown that people are likely to walk further for parking, which is good for us. You have to have less parking spaces. People feel safe when they are on streets where they can, have a lot of activity, and there is less crime when storefronts are lit or there is visibility to the inside or out. So there's a number of reasons why you'd want to have a lot of glass openings in the front. The other thing is direct access to the street front. I don't think there's any direct access to the street front on this building. That's critical to promote foot traffic, along with you'd have awnings or shades. It did not appear that they had any of those. So again, the site plan does not include any of those, and I would encourage them to do it. In terms of uniqueness, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this is our downtown, and this is a picture of the development. So I would say the uniqueness.
Can I see the downtown one that you're showing?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a copy of this. So I just say, you know, I've been on the zoning board. It's not an easy place to be. What is built today is going to be around well beyond any of our lifetimes in this room. What you decide today, I think, is really important and should not be taken lightly. The hardest part I found about being on the zoning board was really doing the right thing, because it's much easier to take kind of the path of least resistance. The village has invested heavily in determining the criteria for continued success for the downtown with the comprehensive plan, the small towns event, among some other items events that they've had. And I just would strongly encourage the ZBA to support what is in the best interest of the village and its residents, and deny or alter the site plan until it meets the standards of our downtown. And with that, I'll share with you the pictures. I also put together just some, some things, quite a few of the pictures of the downtown that were shared as part of the presentation we did earlier. So you guys have seen them. So maybe I should start on this one. And then I have another one I can circulate to the audience. And then, oops.
I just want to see the one you showed of downtown.
And that's in there too.
Okay, any other public comments? Anybody else from the public? Okay. Public comments are kind of closed. I have one letter that I will read. Everybody on the board has a copy, but I'll read it just for the record. Before you make a decision on tonight's KDB site plan and variance requests, I would like you to keep the following things in mind. When the development started with the village board, spent lots of time creating an overlay district for a reason. There's a look and a vision that you have put into place, and to start allowing variations on the first major development in that area sets precedents that we will bend on regulations we put into place. The renderings shown do not include awnings, which is listed as the following in the overlay district. Projected awnings and canopy decorations. Awnings and canopies are encouraged on all buildings and located in downtown overlay district and fronting on Prospect Road, and the same project across from the property line into the public right-of-way. Any such awning or canopy and associated framing system shall be designed to resist deterioration due to weathering, due to withstand applicable wind and snow loads, and to prevent nesting or roosting by birds. When the KDB group first came to the village with all of the development ideas, this board, the Board of Trustees, stakeholders in our community dedicated their time and energy, not to mention over $90,000 in public monies, to create our current comprehensive plan. This site plan presented does not represent that plan. When the Prospect Mall was purchased, over 30 businesses of similar nature were not given the opportunity to keep their businesses in village. I'm sorry, when the Prospect Mall was purchased, over 30 businesses of a similar nature were not given the option to keep their businesses in the village of Peoria Heights, but now we would be allowing a business similar to theirs to take up occupancy. What does that say to those businesses? The original design for this building was encouraged, as the outcome would have done great things for the village as a whole. This site plan does not fit that mold. I always like to support the decisions of the zoning board, as I know you spend a lot of your own time and energy on these decisions for the betterment of the community. I wanted to let you know before making tonight's decision, that is the trustee over administration, that this project, as it is presented today, does not have my support. I appreciate your time in reading my email. I hope that you take into consideration my above comments, especially the work you all in this community have done to create plans that we currently have in place. Thanks so much. Trustee Sarah DeBoer. Okay, any other public comments? And public comments are closed. Okay, so do we have any other questions for the developer regarding the site plan or the variances? Any other questions for any of that? Did you think about awnings? This one picture, I guess it almost looked like an awning, but it wasn't. It's the wood slats over the top of the window, but was there any discussion about awnings when you were?
I had personally looked at a company for doing awnings, which would actually encapsulate the whole entire courtyard there. So when the inclement weather would come, you could actually close them, and the rain would not dissipate onto the apartments or patrons outside. So that type of awning I have looked at.
Okay, but not on the front facade at all, as you designed?
Sidewalk.
No.
I think it's important to note with these two buildings, the way that they were built decades ago. I mean, they were built with the design to have this interior courtyard. There's even a design for a garden at the back. And what's tricky about, access to the front of the buildings is the fact that the floor is level between these two buildings, but the sidewalk slopes down as Prospect Road slopes down. So I feel like this building, it's different than any of the other buildings on Prospect Road because of its orientation. So it's a little bit, I don't know, it calls for some different treatments. I know it has awnings today, but I don't know if those awnings are, I don't know, we could share, I guess, our own opinions of those existing awnings today. But it is a different orientation. I mean, the courtyard design was central to the original design of the buildings, having entrances off of the middle. And I understand the following urbanism and planning principles, and I understand all those things. This building was turned sideways to, you know, what we've learned as good urban practices, but it's hard to correct that when you have a physical building that was built a certain way to try to re-engineer that.
Yeah. And there's some, you know, there's obviously some of each on Prospect. There's buildings with awnings and there's buildings without awnings. Most of the awnings, as you look at them on Prospect, cover a doorway or cover foot traffic into and out of the building. Many of them are very short, so I mean, it's not covering the sidewalk per se. And then, like you said, this one where you go in and out of the building is up in the courtyard. So it's a little bit different than going in and out of a building off of Prospect. So to put awnings up, you would be putting awnings up over windows and no doors, because there's no doors that face Prospect, right? So.
Right. I was wondering about the doors facing Prospect. How much work's been done on the interior?
So the interior has been totally gutted. It's clean. It's asbestos-free. It was loaded with a bunch of asbestos. So it is a wide envelope building which we've been working on during COVID. So, you know, we've been working diligently throughout that period. So both sides are actually ready to go.
Okay. And this is obviously maybe deeper than we should be getting, but what would the possibility being of putting a front door coming out? So we could put a door coming out of Prospect?
No, because of the height of the floor itself, the main level, is probably about a 3 to 4 foot drop.
Yep.
That'd be, on both sides actually, that'd be an issue.
Okay, makes sense.
Just because of the angle of the Prospect.
Yep, all right, thank you.
That's why in Peoria A, you can walk right out to the sidewalk without that issue.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay. So we will first go through the finding of facts for the.
I have a quick question.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
Chair. But it's been a while. The original plans, did they have, was that a complete redo of the building? Were you not keeping the original buildings? Were we?
No, the original buildings were always be kept. The south side was going to be a restaurant, and the north side, where the financial firm wants to go, was always going to be office or possibly a spa. And then the hotel would be behind that, the tower, the fourth-story tower. So the footprint is still the same as that you voted on pre-COVID.
We're okay.
Yeah, those two buildings were going to be restaurant / retail / commercial.
Correct. Mixed use.
Is that still the case?
It is to this day, yes. Yeah, so we're still being courted on the south side for a restaurant, and the north side is a financial firm which has 17 employees. Out of those 17, there's 10 registered reps, and they have a traffic flow of between 2 to 3 clients per hour per rep. So you're looking at, I don't know, 20 to 30 clients come in and out that are, I don't know how I put this politely, but have the means, financial means, to have a financial advisor. They're at that status, so most likely, once they leave the property, they're probably going to dinner, lunch, shopping. So to say that they won't be participating in a sales tax revenue that's not true. They definitely would be spending their monies here in Peoria Heights. And it'd be new money coming to Peoria Heights.
Okay.
Are we voting on just the variance?
So first we're going to do the site plan, and then we'll do the variance for the windows, and then we'll do the variance for the parking.
Well, so the site plan, all we have is just this and this.
Yep. guess, you know, for what it's worth, the overlay district in the zoning code and even if you go all the way back to and go into the comprehensive plan too, even though the comprehensive plan isn't a regulation, right? It's something that is recommended, and it even has, hey, in the comprehensive plan, it even talks about when things change, how to change them. Because there's unless you, and in our current zoning code and our overlay district did not go to the point of demanding facades. It didn't go to the point of demanding over awnings even. It's strongly encouraged. So it's kind of hard for me to say, oh, well, I'm going to not pass anything because they don't have an awning. But I get the point.
Can I ask the question if that's part of the recommendations for Peoria Heights, were they even taken into consideration for the awnings? The glass is one thing because of the structure of the building. To me, the glass is going to be more than they have now.
Right.
So that's not the issue. It's just the look and the feel of those buildings, although the one across the street, that Springfield Clinic's pretty
Flashing.
flashy and glassy. But to ask the question again, was that even given consideration?
Yeah, we can definitely consider it for sure. We can definitely look at it, sit down in the fall, and see what we can do to make that feasible. I don't know what kind of issues will run on the Duryea side compared to the elevation of it.
I feel like there's already, is there something there now that protects you as you walk through?
Yeah, it's that shake. It's all that shake, but I mean, they're taking all that off.
That's all going to come off?
That's correct, yep.
I mean,
Okay, so we're going.
so at one time the village was all,
Covered walkway to a completely non-covered walkway.
That's correct.
So,
Yeah, the rest of the
But I mean-
awnings don't stick out that much.
I said most of the other
Some
buildings
more
though don't cover the entire sidewalk. They cover some outdoor dining, they cover a little bit of where you go in the doorway, et cetera, but they don't cover the entire walkway. There's a couple that come close. But at one point, right, the village was all that shake,
Yes.
right? All the way down. And on the other side of the street too. And over time, that has all been taken out. So, I mean,
It's been taken off for probably a damn good reason. It was
Well-
never maintained very well.
that's right. And it's,
I remember the first person that took a piece of it off was on Cyberlane and Prospect, and the contractor told that gal that went in there. She said, you know how rotten that is? Next thing you know, it was a chainsaw. So that's where it started.
Yep.
And the rest of it went.
It's hard to maintain too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, and expensive. Let's go through the site plan finding facts. The establishment, maintenance, or operation of the special use or site plan will not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comforts, or general welfare. Wiedemann?
yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Special use or site plan will not be injurious to the uses and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted, nor substantially diminish and repair property values within the neighborhood to which it is to be located. Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
The establishment of the special use or site plan will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding property for uses permitted in the district. Wiedemann?
No.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Adequate facilities, access roads, drainage, and/or necessary facilities have been or will be provided.
Yes.
Wiedemann? O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress or egress as so designed to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wabacher?
Yes.
Katie? Wu?
Yes.
It is not a public utility. The special use and site plan in all respects conform to the applicable regulations in the district which is located, except as such regulations may be in each instance modified pursuant to the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Wiedemann?
No.
O'Neill?
No.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
No. No.
Okay. So, do we want to make a motion to approve the site plan or not? Anybody?
With or without any.
Well, we're not even to the variances yet, but just the site plan in general.
I'll move to approve.
Second, anyone? I'll second it. So we will call the roll. Wiedemann?
Yeah.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
No.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Okay. On to the variance requests. So we'll first do the variance request for the windows not meeting the 75% front facade. Will the strict application of the terms of the zoning code related to the use, construction, or alternation of the buildings or structures or to the use of land impose practical difficulties or particular hardship upon the petitioner?
Yes.
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 If the variation is granted, the property affected by the variation will remain in harmony with general purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Yes.
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 The approval of a variation will not merely serve as a convenience to the petitioner, but it is necessary to alleviate some demonstrable hardship on the petitioner.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Yes.
Can the variation requested by the petitioner be granted without substantial detriment to the public good?
Yes.
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 Can the proposed variation be approved without impairing the general purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan as implemented by the zoning code?
Yes.
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 If the proposed variance involves a fence, and it does not. Okay, so then a motion to approve the windows not meeting 75% front facade.
I'll second.
Mick, Floyd, Wambacher. Any other discussion? Okay, call the roll. Wiedemann?
Aye.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Aye.
Pitzel? Yes. Wambacher?
Aye.
Katie?
Aye.
Wu?
Yes.
Not the one you wrote on. So I'm writing this variance as the angled parking space is not 20 feet on length. Does that make sense to everybody?
Fair enough.
Will the strict application of the terms of the zoning code related to the use, construction, alternation of buildings or structures or the use of the land impose practical difficulties or a particular hardship upon the petitioner?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
If the variation is granted, the property affected by the variation remain in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning code?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
The approval of the variation will not merely serve as a convenience to the petitioner, but is necessary to alleviate some demonstrable hardship on the petitioner?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can the variation requested by the petitioner be granted without substantial detriment to the public good?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Can the proposed variation be approved without impairing the general purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan as implemented by the zoning code?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Not a fence. Motion to approve the requested variance, then? Anybody?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Second by Mike Wu. Sorry. I will call the roll. Wiedemann?
Yes.
O'Neill?
Yes.
Callaway?
Yes.
Pitzel? Yes. Wambacher?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Okay. So those three, the site plan and the two variances passed. They will be taken up by the village board in 10 days, I believe, the meeting after 10 days. So I think it's 14 days, 10 working days, sorry. I always say it wrong and Mark always. So it's 10 working days, 14 days, so 2 weeks. Any meeting after 2 weeks, you can get on the agenda basically. And then you'll be on the agenda for the village board meeting, and they have to approve the site plan.
Okay.
They won't approve the variances again. It's just the site plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. On to the next business. Ordinance number 2022-1688, an ordinance amending Title 10, Chapter 2, Section 1 of the Village Code of the Village of Peoria Heights regarding the definition of massage and massage therapy. Mark, you want to
Absolutely.
talk to this a little bit, and then we'll have public comments?
Yeah, at the request of a licensed, a state of Illinois licensed massage therapist, we took a look at our ordinance. We currently have references to massage therapy that exclude application or zoning restrictions on massage therapy facilities where the work is conducted by licensed physicians, podiatrists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, cosmetologists, estheticians, and other state licensed people. But we did not include in that list licensed massage therapists. Looking at it, and again, this is at the request of a particular party, but it does seem to make sense to include the state licensed massage therapists as excluded from the restriction to B3 that otherwise would apply in our zoning code. And that's in a nutshell what we're asking to do. It's a real simple one word, well, 2 words, massage therapist, being added to the language that excludes the application. So there are still some massage facilities, businesses, that will be excluded to any zone except B3 with a special use. And in particular, that would be those that the Asian Body Works Association, anyone that isn't state licensed, but you shouldn't really be engaged in massage therapy if you're not state licensed. But basically, there's a lot of licensed massage facilities that, for lack of a better word, we don't necessarily need to be concerned with from a zoning perspective. The state handles that through its license and regulatory.
So are the ones, you said the Asian Body Works, are they not state licensed?
They are carved out of the state license requirement that if you're a member of that association, you do not need a state license. And so we're, just to be clear, we're not exempting anyone that doesn't have a state license. So that would include the Asian Body Works folks. It's the American Organization of Bodywork Therapies of Asia.
So we are including them.
I'm sorry.
They are still, so anyone who does not hold a state of Illinois license, but is otherwise allowed throughout the state to practice massage therapy because they're a member of the American Organization of Bodywork Therapies of Asia. For that class, and anyone in general that doesn't hold a license, you're limited
To B3.
B3, and you have to come before us and convince
For
us that
special
the
use.
location is appropriate under our special use requirements. Otherwise, if you're a doctor, nurse, podiatrist, physical occupational therapist, or licensed massage therapist, you don't. The zoning restrictions don't apply to you. Now,
So when you say they don't apply, you can be in any business district.
any place where a walk-in business like that would be appropriate. So
Right.
any of the 3 business zones, 1, 2, or 3.
And you would
Industrial,
not have to get
theoretical.
special use.
No.
But these are all the ones, these are doctors' facilities and licensed
Right.
facilities.
Correct.
Yeah, state licensed facilities or state license.
Yep.
license.
Okay. And to be clear, because I was,
And the changes is saying state licensed facility? What's the
Yeah,
exact-
we're effectively adding a state licensed massage therapy, and that means everybody that practices the massage services has to be state licensed, right? So state licensed facilities are not subject to our zoning restriction that restricts it to B3 only, as opposed to B1 or 2, and that requires a special use.
so because we're not requiring the special use, if I went, I didn't do this, I should have, but I didn't go to the code and look, does B1 include, because it shows these types of uses, right? And it lists the uses.
B1 includes, like medical offices and things like
Okay,
that.
so that's
Yeah.
where this would fall under then?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it propagates down to B2 and B3?
Exactly.
Okay,
I'm convinced it would be allowed in all of the B zones.
okay. And then I was asking Mark a question about, because there was some question about home massage, home occupations and massage therapy in homes, which is not allowed because it's not in, so it would not be allowed.
Yeah, this would not be the
in
type
the
of.
residential districts of R1, R2, or R3,
Correct.
in a home, unless it met the customary and whatever occupation thing, which I don't think it could, because it's pretty restrictive as far as home occupations.
Just for anybody that wants to know, home occupations are limited to, it's an accessory use of a service character customarily conducted within a dwelling, which is clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the dwelling for living purposes, and does not change the character thereof or have any exterior evidence of such secondary use.
And then it also goes on to,
It can only be carried on by members of the family who reside there, so you can't have anybody that doesn't live in the house. Cannot use it in excess of 25% of the area. No sales from the facility, no mechanical equipment. There's a lot of restrictions that would, I think it's pretty clear that the massage therapy services, license or no license, would not be a suitable home occupation.
Should this say licensed massage therapist instead of just massage therapist?
We could add that.
I mean, I think that would be appropriate.
Actually, it does. If you got to read
Oh,
the whole
licensed
sentence.
by, okay, gotcha.
By persons licensed
Yep.
by the state
Got
of
it.
Illinois. Thought you caught me, Charlie, but.
Let's try it.
Okay, any questions? Any other questions? Okay, any public comments?
Do I
Yeah, you can
sit
just,
here?
you can sit there or whichever.
I'm a massage therapist. I'm the one.
And she gave her name and address before, so we got her name and address.
Yeah, in the state of Illinois, it's illegal to do massage. Like I was taught a very extensive code of ethics, and I went under extensive training in anatomy and kinesiology, and the current code is actually quite offensive to my profession, so I would greatly appreciate the change.
Okay.
And I could answer
Any other questions?
Basically, massage therapy didn't include massage therapists.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, so a motion approving or,
This is just, by the way, we don't get these ordinance changes very often, so our role as
Is a
ZBA
recommendation.
is to make a recommendation to the village board for approval or not, or approval as amended. You don't have to take it or leave it as I draft it and present it. Frankly, anybody from the public can draft their own ordinance amendment and submit it, but in any event, your role is to make the recommendation to the board adopts the ordinance.
okay, so a motion to recommend approving this to the village board.
I move.
Okay, Floyd,
I'll second.
seconded by Mick O'Neill. Any other discussion? Okay, call the roll. Wiedemann,
Yes.
O'Neill,
Yep.
Callaway,
Yes.
Pitzel, yes. Wambacher,
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Wu?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And I would, motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you. And thank you.